Greetings, kindred. We're going to start a new chapter in Ezekiel today, chapter 2. And I hope you're enjoying this. If so, please share and like and leave some comments too if you want to ask me a question or give me some tips or pointers or advice, whatever. Okay, let's get started. Why did Yahweh visit Ezekiel in his SUV, his space utility vehicle? Did he have to? Certainly not. He could have revealed himself to him from a burning bush like he did unto Moses, right? Okay, sorry about that little interruption there. Now, it isn't written that Moses asked him what he was doing in a bush, but it is written that he asked him what his name was. Remember? Here's the conversation. Exodus 3, verse 13. And Moses said unto Yahweh, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, The Elohim of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? And what shall I say unto them? Verse 14. And Yahweh said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. Therefore Yahweh is whatever he is, whatever he wants to be. So when the question is asked, how does Yahweh reveal himself unto man? The answer is, however he wants to. He's Yahweh. Now the plain fact is that Yahweh chose to visit Ezekiel in a highly polished spectrum bronze vehicle, as Ezekiel describes it. So you can send me emails all day and all night long telling me you just find it hard to believe that Yahweh used transportation. But don't you think it is significant that the entire first chapter in Ezekiel, plus more to come in chapter 10, is devoted to the description of these flying vehicles? There's a reason for it. Our Father wants you and me in this final generation to know that these vehicles exist. As I said in the previous studies, no other generation could have even understood what they are, and rightfully so, because no other generation was ever going to see them. But this generation is going to see them. Wake up and understand the word of Yahweh. Remember that the name Ezekiel means whom Yahweh strengthens, and Adonai, Yahweh, wants to strengthen his servants, his watchmen, in these last days and prepare them for the spectacular supernatural events, the SSEs, that will befall us shortly. What do we mean, shortly? When Satan and his angels are cast out of heaven in Revelation 12, 7 through 9, they will be driving awesome SUVs, UFOs, IFOs, flying wheels, flying saucers, whatever you wish to call them. They are for real. We make no apologies for teaching Yahweh's word as it is written. Okay, I need to stop here for just a minute because I disagree with this previous statement. I'm not going to criticize Lance because he wrote this 23 years ago, and many seals have been opened since then. We have a much greater understanding now than we did 20 years ago. But I submit that Satan and his angels have already been kicked out of heaven and are here now. In fact, they were kicked out before Adam was placed on the earth, because the serpent, Nakash, aka Satan and the devil, as we read in Revelation 12:9, was here at the time of Adam and seduced Eve. So I don't see them coming to earth in the highly polished bronze vehicles. However, We know that the deep state is planning a Project Bluebeam event that will simulate UFOs coming to Earth via holograms and possibly trick us into believing that Christ has returned, but don't be deceived. Be not deceived. This is all Houdini, sleight of hand, smoke and mirrors. So let's continue in Ezekiel. The vehicles have lowered their landing gear and are standing still, and Yahweh Elohim, with the brilliant, radiant Shekinah glory around him on his throne, is about to personally address Ezekiel, who is on the ground, flat on his face, no doubt trembling in wet pants. Should I say that again? No doubt trembling in wet pants. Ezekiel 2:1. And he said unto me, Son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. Yahweh likes to talk to people when they are standing up, not laying down. Now I'm sure Ezekiel heard him say, stand up, but based on the next verse, it appears he needed a little help. Can't you just imagine laying there in the front of this awesome flashing machinery with these living beings inside, and then hearing, stand up? You immediately say to yourself, oh my God, what do? I can't move. Not to worry, Yahweh stood him upright. And the Spirit entered into me, and when he spake unto me, and set me upon my feet, that I heard him that spake unto me. When Yahweh makes a personal visit to tell you something, you can believe that whatever he has to say is of supreme importance. He now begins to speak to Ezekiel. 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that hath rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. Yahweh sent Moses to Pharaoh to have his people set free from captivity, and they were. But now they have been taken captive once again, this time by the king of Babylon. And now Yahweh sends Ezekiel to the people, to the whole house of Israel. Okay, that whole house of Israel is both the northern kingdom, which were the 10 tribes of Israel, and the southern kingdom, which was Judah and Benjamin. So this is to the whole entire house. Again, keep those vehicles in mind so you remember that this book of Ezekiel was written primarily for our generation. This message from Yahweh to Ezekiel is to go forth today to the house of Israel and to the nations. Do you know where the true house of Israel resides today? Do you know who sits right now upon the throne of David? Yahweh promised David he would never want for a man or woman to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel until Shiloh come. That's in Jeremiah 33, verse 17. For thus saith Yahweh, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. When Yahweh says something, it will be. So there has to be someone on the throne of the house of Israel this very day. Her name is Queen Elizabeth, and yes, she is a direct descendant of King David. I need to pause again because QE II has now passed away and her son Charles is now king. And since Charles is believed to be part Edomite, does this mean Shiloh will come? Indeed, unless some other descendant of Israel takes the place of being a king over Israel. And the chance of that is very remote. Okay, the house of Israel and the house of Judah are two separate houses. If you have maps in the back of your Bible, look at them and you'll see the division of the tribes. Judah and Benjamin comprise only the house of Judah. Today, most people know where Judah is, in part, but most people do not know where the 10 lost tribes of the house of Israel are. I need to pause again because most people 23 years ago believed that the contemporary Jew was Judah. Today we have a better understanding that Judah was cut off and her identity lost as well. This is because after Judah was carried away captive, the Edomites, Canaanites, Hittites, Kenites, and other heathen groups moved into the land of Judea and were called Jews because they lived there. In contrast, the tribe of Judah was never called Jew. The misconception that contemporary Jews are Judah has been present for centuries, if not millennia. Unfortunately, we don't have time nor space to document the migrations of the tribes, but they have basically become the Christian nations of the world. For further help on this subject, obtain the booklet, The Abrahamic Covenant by E. Raymond Capt. I want to add, too, that E. Raymond Capt also erroneously believed that the contemporary Jew was Judah. However, this booklet, The Abrahamic Covenant, is an excellent book in tracing the 10 lost tribes of Israel to the Christian nations of the world, composed of your Anglo-Saxon, Celtic, Germanic, Nordic, and kindred people. Ezekiel 2, verse 4. For they are impudent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Yahweh Elohim. Ezekiel didn't have to ask Yahweh his name, did he? Yahweh told Ezekiel that his people are resistant, hard-headed, and obstinate, but that he must go to them and say, Thus saith Adonai Yahweh, the Yahweh Elohim. Adonai Yahweh is used 214 times in Ezekiel. Verse 5, And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there hath been a prophet among them. Whether they listen to you or not, Ezekiel, they shall know that there has been a prophet among them. Oh yeah? When and how will they know? By his words? When those who have read or heard the words of Ezekiel see what he tells them to come to pass, and they will come to pass, then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. That's how the word of Yahweh says it works. Ezekiel 33:33. And when his mouth cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. Note, so it really doesn't matter if you believe the description of the highly polished bronze flying wheels or not, does it? Since you've already read them, and when you see them, you'll know that Ezekiel the prophet was right on. Okay, verse 6. And thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words. Though briars and thorns be with thee, and thou doest well among scorpions, be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. Pay no attention to the scoffers, and those who look at you as if you are a nut. UFOs, yeah, right. They are a stubborn and rebellious house. Question, did you ever learn this saying when you were a kid? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me? Well, if you're an adult, don't go around saying it, because even I'll call you a nut. But you can think it, for it works well for Ezekiel in 2:6. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. This verse is indeed profound, for there is such a lack of speaking the word of Yahweh in these last days. That in itself is the fulfillment of the scriptures containing the words of Yeshua, which he spoke concerning the famine in Matthew 24 and Mark 13. He said, there shall be famine. So you can either turn on your Sunday morning TV shows and listen to the predictions of starvation, people going hungry, or you can read the word of Yahweh and understand exactly what the famine of these last days is. Would you believe it has nothing to do with food? Amos 8, verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Elohim, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. There is a famine for hearing the words of Yahweh, and so Ezekiel, a type of those who he strengthens this day, was told, "You speak my words to them." Verse 12. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. And they do wander even from sea to shining sea, searching for truth, and they can't find it. Yes, there is a great and dreadful famine in the land. Ezekiel 2, verse 8. But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not thou rebellious, like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth, and eat that I give thee. Are you willing to open your mouth and eat what Yahweh gives you, or are you going to continue to eat the crumbs and garbage of churchianity that is spewed forth across the pulpits of this land, which are starving our people and causing the great famine? There are many who come in his name, as Christ said they would, claiming to represent him as Christian ministers. Just turn on the TV. And through their traditions and lack of speaking his words, they have produced a generation of biblical illiterates. If you think I'm being harsh or even judgmental, you ain't seen nothing yet. For in this book of strengthening, our Father himself is going to tell it like it is to the preachers as no other can. He will even call them outright liars and call their doctrines dung. He's a realist and a great communicator. Verse 9. And when I looked, behold, a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. Yahweh now hands Ezekiel his words to be spoken. You have them too, the same words. Verse 10. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written therein lamentations and mourning and woe. Written within and without means it was complete. And there's some not so good news written in it for those who chose or choose to remain rebellious and obstinate. In our next study, Yahweh is going to tell Ezekiel exactly, eat the roll. Eat the scroll. I can't wait to see this. Okay, that is the end of this part of the beginning of the second chapter. We'll continue with the chapter in our next session. All right, Yahweh bless. Have a wonderful day.